And Ron and the ESS folks, thank you for having me today, and welcome everybody. My name is Tod Donzelli. As Con said, I am a executive client advisor at Infor. I represent our technology and innovation business. This is an area of Infor that focuses not so much on ERP functionality, but we're really driven by the innovation and technology and business improvements that can be driven by the Infor platform. So today's discussion is going to be about innovation and how we can apply Infor's innovation suite for Infor customers. Before I jump into this, just a little bit of background about myself. As Con mentioned, I came here from a global consulting organization where I sat with executives and helped them plan their digital transformation strategies. So I tend to have a transformation focus when I talk about this topic. And one of the things that's very interesting is that with the new wave of technology, specifically artificial intelligence, that's come onto the market in the last few years, it's really changed how we look at what innovation means, and also, more importantly, who can take advantage of innovation. Companies of all shapes and sizes nowadays are able to use new technology to transform how they do business. I'm excited to be at Infor because I believe Infor is at the forefront of this innovation strategy. And I'll talk a little bit up front about Infor's innovation strategy and what we think about in terms of how we help businesses go through that transformation journey. Then I'll also speak very briefly about Infor's AI strategy in general, and then I'll spend a little bit more time in our approach. How do we approach artificial intelligence? It's actually a unique way of bringing the capabilities of AI to business without having to bring the heavy hand of technology. That is really probably the biggest challenge for companies that are looking to utilize and implement artificial intelligence to improve their business processes. And then we'll talk about what impact AI has in your business. There's specific areas of ERP operations where artificial intelligence can have significant impact. And we'll take a look at some of those areas, and we'll look at them through the lens of the areas that are the problem areas that you can address, the type of questions that this solution will help solve, as well as what are some of the potential data sources and what pieces of information would you need in order to be able to make this actionable and applicable for your company. So again, I'd like to start at a high level, talking about Infor's digital transformation strategy. And some of you who are Infor customers may be customers of our Cloud Suite application. Others may be using our solution on-premise. The good news is that our innovation capabilities are available to all of our customers. And what I mean by that is that we have a cloud platform that we have developed. It's the basis for our Cloud Suite applications, but it's also an innovation platform that can be executed standalone to deliver AI and business innovation insights to our on-premise organizations. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the stack here and why that's so important here. As you may know, Infor is a very strong partner of AWS, Amazon Web Services. What that means is we're able to leverage AWS's research and development investments to the tune of approximately $73 billion per year. And what Infor does is we use all of Amazon or AWS's microservices, services, and capabilities, and we aggregate the most applicable and the most important ones for our ERP customers. And we aggregate those and we put those into our industry cloud platform, which means that we are on the cutting edge of innovation powered by AWS. By aggregating those services, we save you the time of having to figure out how to navigate the world of AWS and the vast world of cloud services by turning those services into innovation capabilities. And the three areas of innovation capabilities that we're going to focus on today are predictive insights, which is how do we use data and apply an algorithmic approach to give you better insights into your business. I'll also talk briefly about process automation and what capabilities are available there. And then the last portion of that is workforce productivity. How can you make workers more productive on a day-to-day basis? So if we think of innovation, Infor really has artificial intelligence as the foundation of our innovation strategy. And it's what we like to describe as a multifaceted AI strategy, and the fact that we don't simply take one approach to artificial intelligence, but we break it out in terms of areas of capabilities. And the three areas of AI capabilities that Infor has solutions for are the three areas that I just mentioned in the previous slide: predictive insights, which is a machine learning based capability that looks at company data and applies an algorithmic approach to that company data, looks at large amounts of information to identify trends, predictions, and insights that you normally would not be able to find yourself. And the key to these insights is that they're highly accurate, they're tuned to your business based upon your data, and they help you make the right decisions at the right times. And it's an extremely powerful tool, both operationally as well as strategically, for businesses to get better insights from their data to make more important business decisions. The second area is process automation. And this is an AI inspired and AI driven process that really creates more efficient and autonomous business processes and drives out those labor intensive tasks. This is a very powerful tool for organizations that are dealing with labor shortages or simply looking to move individuals from repetitive and tedious work into more high value tasks and contributions to your organization. And the third area then is workforce productivity. This is where Infor is applying generative AI, which is the latest and probably the most well-known area of artificial intelligence, to help create a more productive and creative workforce. And we'll talk about all three of these solutions, what they bring in terms of their value, and then how we would apply those from an Infor perspective, what value propositions each one of these have in place. So if we now narrow the aperture a little bit and we talk about Infor's multifaceted AI strategy through the lens of predictive insights, as I mentioned before, our predictive insights engine is driven by a machine learning tool. And machine learning is basically a subset of AI that involves training algorithms, which are essentially elements of logic that look for patterns. And they look at those patterns to identify predictions, insights, and trends in your data, things that you may want to confirm or potentially identify trends and insights that you may not have even seen before. And we deliver this in a turnkey solution known as Infor's Augmented Intelligence subscription. This solution is a combination of people, process, and technology, meaning that we provide not only the engine itself, the AI engine, which is the container and the algorithms, right? The logic that helps you understand the data. We also provide the integration and the secure data lake to pull that information together so it's in a single repository so we can perform these AI queries against it. And then the last part, which is probably the most interesting and the most powerful portion of this, is that we provide data science as a service. And what I mean by that is Infor has a team of data scientists and machine learning engineers who are part of this subscription offering. And what you receive as a customer is fractional ownership of those data science teams, meaning that you can access data scientists when you need it to help you both implement one of these solutions, as well as to continually tune the algorithm to make sure that you're getting optimal insights and predictions out of it. What that leads to is a very rapid time to value, because we abstract the technology and the implementation portion of this, and we really focus on understanding the challenges you're trying to solve, what data sets are going to feed us the best insights and predictions for those challenges, and then how do we get those insights and predictions into your day-to-day work environment. The next area of our multifaceted strategy, as I mentioned, is process automation. And process automation leverages a number of tools within the Infor Innovation Suite. not just artificial intelligence, but robotic process automation and document management. It's really there to help eliminate repetitive tasks. One of those, for example, may be invoice processing. Invoice processing for customers tends to be a process that is very repetitive. It can be extremely tedious and very labor intensive, and also error prone. By automating that process and using AI to extract the data, to map the data, and then to help store the data within your ERP application, you're removing both repetitive manual tasks as well as significantly reducing the possibility for errors when it comes to managing and taking care of those inbound invoices. We also use generative AI in situations where there might be multi-language document processing. For those customers who may be doing business in French and English, which I know is a significant number of customers across Canada, Gen AI helps to make that translation possible. It also drives translation across a number of other languages should you be doing work internationally. And the last leg of the stool in terms of our multifaceted AI strategy is workforce productivity. As I mentioned, Infor's Gen AI solution allows you to be more productive on a day-to-day basis on an individual level. Generative AI is a new solution. It's something that, frankly, as we as technologists look at its impact on business, we're really not sure how far the capabilities and value of Gen AI are going to go. It's a new technology that's just entering the work world. Some of you may have played with generative AI solutions like OpenAI or some other capability and realize that there's tremendous potential for this. We have taken a very practical and conservative approach, though, in terms of how we are implementing generative AI into our solutions, and the fact that we're constraining it to 4 specific areas for our first release. And those 4 areas are listed on the right-hand side. First is the ability to generate content. And so this is a tremendous value for folks looking to get productivity gains out of that. And that's being able to look at documentation, generate large pieces of content that is written very human-like text. The other thing is if you reverse that, it's able to summarize tremendous amounts of content into short, very coherent summaries. So you may have to deliver a project summary or a project status summary to senior leadership. That may be something that historically takes hours to put together. Generative AI can assemble that in a matter of seconds. The good news is that we give people the opportunity to review that content, to make sure that it's accurate, make sure that it makes sense before submitting it. The other thing it does is it allows you to analyze content, taking a look at large swaths of information and looking for relevant context, relevant text, and doing an analysis on that. And the last portion, and another reason why it's so valuable in the process automation phase, is it's very effective at translating any element of business from one language to another. So those are the 3 facets of Infor's AI strategy. I often get asked the question, Todd, we're new to artificial intelligence. Can you help explain the difference between machine learning and generative AI? And I like to keep things very simple. And for me, this diagram really illustrates the difference between these 2 very powerful, but 2 very different tools. Machine learning is really about predicting business outcomes, right? It's about the ability to learn from existing data to make very accurate predictions and help you make better decisions as an organization. Whereas generative AI provides you creativity and productivity tools. And what that means is it learns from a large data set and it creates new data sets or responses that you can choose from, that you can choose to use, that you can augment. And it's something that's very powerful for creating something new from an organizational perspective. So let's make that real. Let's talk about some real world use cases of both of these artificial intelligence applications. In the world of machine learning, one of the most effective areas for machine learning, for example, in a manufacturing organization, is predictive maintenance for equipment. Traditionally, if you're doing predictive or preventative maintenance, it's very inefficient because you really don't know what's going on with different parts of either your assembly line or your fleet until something goes down. And it often happens at the worst time. And that downtime leads to lost production, lost delivery times, and it creates just a general headache in terms of making sure that your business processes and your organization runs smoothly. With machine learning, it can learn both from information directly from machines, from an IoT perspective, or it can manage and monitor based upon historical performance, things like fleet vehicles, to help predict when failures may occur and really provide you the opportunity to fix problems before they bring down portions of your business. On the other side, generative AI is a very powerful tool in terms of creation. In this case, the example is generative design for products. If you are bringing a new product to market or simply designing a new product, you know that can be a very time-consuming and costly process. There's a lot of trial and error usually involved in that process. And the last thing is you really have to balance how innovative and how creative you can be with meeting the requirements of your customers. Generative AI allows you to shorten all of those time cycles. It uses algorithms to look at what you're trying to design, what you're trying to deliver, and provide you tremendous options that are much more effective and can be utilized in a much shorter time frame. So again, machine learning versus generative AI, they're two very powerful tools, but they have very distinct capabilities, both in terms of how you use them and the application you would use them for in your business. Today, though, I'd like to focus specifically on our augmented intelligence subscription. And this is where I believe Infor's AI strategy can have the best impact for yourselves as organizations. And why do I say that? If you think about the advantages that AI brings to business, the machine learning and augmented intelligence subscription really helps you make better business decisions. And while increasing worker productivity and worker creativity is important, and automating processes can get you efficiency gains, making the right decision based upon your data at the right time will have the most significant impact on your top and bottom line. So, what is Infor's augmented intelligence subscription? As I mentioned, our solution transforms your data, and that's what we focus on exclusively is your data into what we describe as actionable insights. It helps you augment your decision-making process and really defines for you identities and opportunities for innovation, for growth, and business efficiency. So how does our augmented intelligence subscription work? It is a very straightforward solution in the fact that we look at information that is sent to us by your organization. This could be information that resides within your Infor ERP system, whether that be in the cloud through Cloud Suite or on-prem. It can be data that's fed to us from other systems, and we even have customers who are pulling data from the web that may be applicable to things like pricing. And it pulls that into Infor Secure Data Lake, where we then run it. We run our algorithms, our artificial intelligence engine against that data set. And we have a very broad library of industry templates. So our algorithms are focused on industry-specific problems that we're trying to solve. And we'll review some of these here. Once we get through the product overview, we'll review some of those functional areas. And the power of this subscription is not just simply looking at the data and running an algorithm against it to define the insight, but these algorithms are being constantly tuned by Infor's data science as a service team. Those are those individuals that I mentioned, data scientists and machine learning engineers who are on staff here at Infor, who are always working in the background to make sure that you're getting the optimal performance and quality of insights from our intelligence solution. So how do we approach this? This is another unique area of capability for Infor. Most companies nowadays who are talking about artificial intelligence for business really provide customers only the tooling necessary to use artificial intelligence in a business perspective. As I've mentioned before, Infor combines not just the technology, but also the defined business processes backed by teams of individuals, data scientists and machine learning engineers as a combined solution. And what makes this approach very unique is that we work with you in what we call an initial implementation, a quick start implementation called a readiness assessment. This is a pre-sales engagement. So this is something that we do with customers prior to any decision to move forward with Infor, where we take a look at a particular business challenge, a business problem. So the first thing we identify is, what problem are we trying to solve? What use case are we solving for? The next thing we do then is we ask you for an initial data set. So that would be sharing some data with Infor and allowing us to run that data through our algorithms so we can get some potential insights and predictions. This is a really engaging process. It takes approximately 5 weeks. The ask from you as a customer is about 2 to 3 hours a week from some of your top business experts and data experts to simply go through the iterative process of tuning the predictions. And what we are looking to do is identify different patterns and trends and testing some hypotheses around how do we best answer the question you're trying to solve with your data. At the end of that process, we provide you a readout which shows you how effective our AI and ML engine can be in terms of solving that process. If we feel at that point that there's enough value in solving for this solution, then and only then do we talk about moving forward into the world of a subscription offering. The good news is, at this point, we've already done a vast majority of the work. That's why we call it a quick start implementation. So this allows you to go from essentially a pilot process, understanding how the ML engine works, into a production environment, which means applying this directly to your business and starting to see results on a regular basis. What this creates is, this creates now not just the ability to solve for one problem, but it changes the mindset of individuals now. Because if we solve for one business case, oftentimes it gives you the opportunity now to create this mindset and culture of continuous innovation, where we now look for the next difficult question or the next hard problem to solve. And oftentimes we found with our customers is that once they have one of these use cases solved in place and running in their business, we will generally move on to the next one, anywhere from 2 to 3 per year. And that 2 to 3 per year is based upon both your schedule as well as Infor capacity. It's a very effective way to move step by step, practically and confidently, and embed AI throughout your business. As I mentioned before, identifying business problems and solving for those business problems and coming up with insights that allow you to make better decisions are the key to Infor's AI solution. There's 5 areas where we typically see the most interest in our ERP customer base for what we need to do to use artificial intelligence to drive business solutions. And these 5 areas are listed here above in these icons. The first is pricing optimization. Second being inventory, really getting optimized inventory. The third being demand forecasting, understanding what are the demands coming from both your customers, how do we backflow that into the manufacturing or the distribution process. Asset management, that was one of the examples that we called out. How do we better make sure that our assets are being utilized and optimized? And then the last is product recommendations. And these 5 key areas provide significant business value to customers, and we'll talk about all 5 of these here in a moment. The insights and decisions that are rendered in each one of these areas for you as a customer are usually utilized either real time embedded in your applications. It may be embedded in a widget somewhere within one of your task screens, or if it's a more strategic decision, it can be embedded within business dashboards. These can be business dashboards within the Infor application or any other reporting tool if you're not using Infor's reporting suite of capabilities. So let's talk a little bit about these use cases. I'm going to start with product recommendations. Using data to get better insights into personalized product recommendations and customer experiences is one of the key components of our AI suite. We can see here from a business value perspective, there are three areas where this provides significant value. Our customers have seen significant increase in revenue, as well as customer satisfaction, because they're being recommended the right product at the right time. It also, because the customer is receiving the right product at the right time, it decreases repair costs as well as ordering costs. And there are some areas here, and I won't drain the slide, but you can see from a measurement perspective, these are some of the areas where we've seen business improvement across our customer base for those folks who have implemented our product recommender. And really, if we think about this in terms of the questions we ask ourselves, these are questions that you can think of. If you're having questions like this around, what products really complement each other, or where can I substitute one product if it's not available with another product that's going to meet the customer needs? Where can we upsell higher end versions of these products? And how do we look at our customers in terms of customer groups or tiers or clusters? Getting those insights into better understanding your customers and better understanding your product mix better are very powerful. If we look across then the bottom, these are typically the areas of data that we look for. And again, this is meant to really illustrate not just the business value that you can get out of this, but understanding if you have interest in product recommendations, these are the type of data sets that we look at. Same thing with demand forecasting. This is one where we've seen tremendous interest across our customer base. Every single customer wants to make sure that they have more accurate business forecasts. Again, that leads to better customer satisfaction, but more importantly, internally, it helps you maintain and optimize inventory levels. You can see here that there's a number of key performance metrics that this positively impacts, along with, again, those insights, those questions that customers are asking themselves on a daily basis, which is, how do we know that we're having the most accurate forecast possible? How can we respond quickly to changes in our marketplace, and getting insights into how can we, more accurately budget and plan for the future. And again, those are, the answers to those insights are found in these key areas of data. And it's usually things like historical orders, understanding the different attributes of your products, understanding your customers better, all elements of data that you have now, but you may not have been able to explore in detail to understand what benefits you can get in terms of being able to better forecast demand. Demand forecast also really goes hand in hand with inventory optimization. Inventory and making sure that we have the right amount, not too much, not too little, is something that all companies struggle with. So how do we streamline that process? How do we optimize those inventory costs? What are those key metrics that really drive inventory optimization to make sure that we're improving our inventory on a regular basis? And again, those key questions, making sure that how can we reduce excess inventory, for example? And that leads to how can we improve production planning? Where can we reduce holding costs? Again, these are some key insights that we're able to deliver information and data-driven insights and predictions to allow you to make better decisions around inventory optimization. Pricing recommendations is another key area where we've seen tremendous interest from our customer base, making sure that we are optimizing our pricing, not just for the maximum margin, but also making it the right pricing recommendation for our customers at the right time. This is a key area in terms of business value with regards to maximizing profits. And also, we've seen this has led to a significant overall value in terms of unnecessary discounting. Oftentimes, when customers don't have a good handle on their pricing strategy or what the right pricing structure should be, they unnecessarily discount their product, causing significant margin erosion. And again, some of the key insights that you may be thinking about, if this is an area that is of interest to you, is overall margin improvement. How can that be improved? Making sure that you're segmenting, you're targeting the right customer segments, right? As well as the impact of market conditions on pricing. Being able to answer those questions based upon these particular data sets provides you tremendous advantage in terms of really optimizing your pricing strategy. And the last element of this is asset management. As I mentioned before, asset management is a key area, whether you're a manufacturer and you're supporting machines or assembly lines, whether you're a distributor or you're some other company who has to manage either fleets of vehicles. You may be in the food and beverage space and you simply want to manage the operational components of your business. The key here is the ability to extend that asset lifespan by providing the proper maintenance, to make sure that you're providing maintenance in the most cost-efficient way possible. And again, because a lot of assets require spare parts to maintain them, those spare parts can be expensive. They can be hard to find or locate. Making sure that you have the right parts and only the right parts available, and that really drives towards the optimization of your spare parts inventory. And again, if we think of some of the key insights that you may be asking yourselves around asset management, which is, how can we make sure that we're getting the most out of the assets that we're using, rather than, reduce, how do we reduce premature replacements where we're replacing a part before it has to be replaced? How can we minimize downtime, right? Because every minute of downtime is hitting the bottom line in terms of cost. And then how can we better assess asset performance to make sure we're getting the very most out of our asset, whether, like I said, that's manufacturing machines, whether that's assembly lines, or might be a fleet of vehicles. And again, all of these insights can be derived through our application by looking into these key areas of data, which everybody has, but they don't have the ability to dig through all of this on their own. And that's really where the power of AI comes into place. Is it allows you to look at a tremendous amount of information, to gather insights in a way that you wouldn't normally be able to see with your own eyeballs. But artificial intelligence is able to compress that process and really pull information and insights out of massive amounts of data. So in summary, I just wanted to give you a quick overview of how you can apply AI directly from an ERP perspective into those 5 key areas. Ron, I know that we've got some time left here at the end of this. There may be some questions that you have, or since I've been presenting, I haven't been able to monitor the Q&A portion of this, but I'd like to see, Ron, if we have any questions that I might be able to answer directly.
Do we have any questions in the queue?
Right. We don't have anything right now, but I believe our attendants will have some questions.
So I do have a couple of questions, just sort of to make this relevant for, as you know, like our customers are small, medium-sized enterprise. So just understanding I know the buzz obviously is AI is for we're all it's been in front of us for the last couple of years, and we need to adapt or adopt or be left behind. So just, I guess, for understanding how our customers need to view and look at it, what is I guess a typical problem we're trying to solve need to be to sort of warrant the cost of I guess like what you had indicated, the augmented intelligence subscription. Like, how large of a project, what does that look like for our customers, and as they they sort of come up with ideas of problems they're trying to solve.
Yeah, that's a good question, Ron, and that's why we take a very business centric approach to artificial intelligence, and it's exactly what you just stated. The benefit of solving the problem has to be worth the investment. Generally, where we see our customers making those initial investments are in the area of pricing recommendations, where they can identify how to get the very best price and the best margin for a particular product, service to their customer, along with inventory optimization. Inventory tends to be a very expensive cost for most companies. And the fact that it's really hard to get it right. It's really hard to make sure that you have that balance of the right amount of a product on hand without overstock or simply running out of stock, which means lost top line revenue as well.
So the approach that you guys take when you first come in is to identify those, and it could be that customers don't actually understand what it's costing them.
Exactly. That's part of the business analysis that we provide with the readiness assessment. We take a look at, we take a look at the data, and we determine what the potential improvements could be if we optimize pricing, for example, or if we optimize inventory. And what we then discuss with the customer is, based upon the improvements that we know that we can get in terms of predictions, it's a mutual agreement of, are we getting enough improvement financially, right? Is there enough of a reason to move forward with this investment in AI? It's one of the challenges that people have when they try to implement artificial intelligence, is they try to implement the technology first and then look for business problems to solve. Because Infor takes the approach of removing the technology implementation phase. We talk directly about business impact and business results, meaning that if you're thinking about applying artificial intelligence to your business, you can determine, are you going to get the proper level of return? Is it worth the investment before you spend the time and before you spend the money? And that business first approach is really unique, and that's what our readiness assessment helps customers understand. And it's really on a customer by customer basis. For some customers, saving 1% in inventory cost per year might be enough to justify a yearly subscription in our augmented intelligence offering. For others, it might have to be 10%. And it's on a case by case and a customer by customer basis. And that's why we put that business focus of a readiness assessment up front.
Makes sense. Con, do we have any questions from the attendees?
We don't have right now, but I have actually a question for you, Todd. So it's one of the when we talk with people, we actually get this question a lot. So what kind of training do we need to implement all these AI functionalities? And so how employers and how companies should train their people to use this very effectively?
Yeah, that's a great question. The adoption of AI from a workforce perspective is one that I get on a regular basis, Con. And it really depends on what type of artificial intelligence or what tool within the artificial intelligence suite you are using. As I mentioned, one of the technologies that Infor provides is generative AI, which is an artificial intelligence capability that's usually embedded directly into the screens and the interfaces, where you would have to train the workers to interact with the user interface differently. And the real difference with generative AI is the fact that it becomes more of a human-like interaction with your system. If we think of, those of us who've been using technology for a number of years, we're very used to and accustomed to filling out forms and fields and selecting from drop-down lists as a way of interacting and entering data into applications. Generative AI allows you to have more of a human-like question. You can ask questions, you can query the system like you'd be talking to a person. I like to use the analogy of, think of someone who's really like the expert in a certain area of your business, the person who really knows accounts payable the best, or who is your most knowledgeable HR representative, and being able to ask that person a question and have them respond back to you and tell you how to do something. And that's really the difference in terms of how you would interact differently with a tool like generative AI. So it's really more of an experience and an interaction change. So it's less about training and it's more about how you engage with the system to get the insights out of that particular tool. Now, if you contrast that with machine learning requires virtually no change in terms of employee behavior or training people to use the system in a different way, because the logic works in the background, and it works by applying those algorithms against your data sets to solve business problems. So really, the ability to use artificial intelligence is done behind the scenes, and the results are simply presented to the users, whether it be the most accurate price that's now put on their screen for them to share with the customer, or it's the specific number of items that they need to reorder from an inventory perspective to make sure that the inventory for that particular product is optimized. So that really abstracts any sort of need for training or learning something new, because all of the work is done behind the scenes.
Thank you so much. We have one question. Can you provide examples of successful AI and ML machine learning projects that have significantly transformed business processes or its outcomes? What key factors contributed to their success? Do you have like a case study about it?
Sure. We have a number of case studies, and I'll send folks the link, or kind of I could share it with you, and we could share it with folks. We actually have an Infor has a YouTube channel, our Innovation Showcase channel, where we've got a number of customer stories, and they talk specifically about those use cases where they have used AI ML to achieve significant results. I'll give you an example. There is a manufacturer here in the food and beverage space, actually where I'm located today in the Netherlands, who is using AI and machine learning to optimize their recipe process, right? They're a food manufacturer, and their raw material is milk. And as you can imagine, with a raw material like milk, a natural resource, you get inconsistency in terms of your batches, and your raw material consistency changes on a regular basis. In order to get the best yield for manufacturing, you have to be able to rapidly analyze the variances in that raw material. And what the AI process is able to do is it's able to get the information from the original test that comes in when the milk is brought in as raw material, raw goods, essentially, and determine, based upon the quality and consistency of that raw material, how does that change the formula for manufacturing and producing the optimum product. And what this customer's found is that even a 1% change in improvement, and that was something that they achieved in the first year, has saved them over $500,000 per year in manufacturing costs and product and lost product. So it's had a significant impact on the business well within the first year. And that's just one example. Like I said, I encourage everybody to go out to Infor's YouTube channel for Innovation Showcase, and we'll provide you that link as well to hear more about our customer stories.
Sure. Actually, your answer was really good, because I was going to ask you one question. So, Infor is considered with industry-specific ERP functions. So with many consultants and the other reviews. So I was going to ask you, will there be any like industry-specific functionalities within AI and Infor? So, for example, in manufacturing, you gave an example about food and beverage industry, but will there be any other functionalities like specifically for manufacturing, healthcare, like medical devices manufacturing, or like any other manufacturing?
Yeah, there are a number of industry-specific business processes that we have. We have a broad library of industry-specific algorithms that we use. If you like to think about the implementation of this, it's really more of a 70-30 process where we have algorithms, and I would say they're 70% tuned to a particular business process or industry requirement, and then the remaining 30% is what we work on collectively with the customer as part of the readiness assessment and implementation to make sure it's meeting their specific needs. So we have industry-specific processes that we then tune to get the optimal performance and insights and predictions for each individual customer.
Mhm. Okay, thank you. We don't have any more questions, but we can wait a little bit more. If you have any question, please use Q&A section. But that was a really good, educated webinar. I can say it's.
Yeah, Todd, thank you very much. I mean, I appreciate you being a part of the ESS sort of 50-year webinar series, and you know, obviously bringing a topic that's well at the forefront of all of our customers. So thanks for taking the time to join us this morning, and you're late in the day afternoon for coming to us from Europe. So again, thanks very much. And yeah, Con, you'll basically get out the link for the Infor YouTube channel and any other relevant information around this. So again, thanks very much, Todd, and everyone else for taking the time to join us this morning.
My pleasure. Thank you, everybody, for the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, and have a great day. Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.